Now is Democratic Congressman Adam Schiff, chairman of the House Intelligence Committee. Chairman Schiff, thanks for being with us. Given the New York Times reporting that at least one of the warrants in Wednesday's raids on Giuliani's apartment and office was related to the removal of the U.S. ambassador to Ukraine, I'm wondering if it surprises you that things have reached this stage.
It doesn't really surprise me. Giuliani was there pursuing business interests, but also pursuing this smear against the Bidens to try to help his client, the president of the United States. And he was working with these unscrupulous Ukrainians, like these former prosecutors named Lutsenko and Shokin. These were some of the same people that he was hoping to get information that could be used against the Bidens by the president. But also they had their own motives to get rid of the U.S. ambassador, who Giuliani felt was a thorn in his side in terms of his corrupt work in Ukraine. But corrupt Ukrainians also thought she was a thorn. And if he was doing work for them at the same time he was doing work for the president and not registering as an agent of a foreign power, then that could put him in really serious legal trouble.
So even if he didn't receive money directly from Ukrainians that were trying to influence him, that doesn't matter?
Well, my understanding is if he was receiving something of value from the Ukrainians to represent them, and here he was successful in smearing and removing a U.S. ambassador, if he was getting something of value from them, it didn't necessarily need to be in cash. And what was valuable to him was dirt on the Bidens that he could help the president utilize for his campaign. But that'll be an issue that the Justice Department needs to resolve. It certainly looks like right now they think if they can find that evidence, that there's probable cause, at least, that there is such evidence in his either home or business.
For a raid like that to take place, for warrants to be issued on both his office and his home, what stage of an investigation does the investigation have to be at, and the confidence that the prosecutors have?
Well, I'm not sure that I can tell you what stage it's at, but on the level of confidence, they'd have to be pretty darn confident that they have a good legal case to be made, that these warrants will be challenged. This is not just a lawyer, but the president's lawyer. But any lawyer that has an argument of attorney-client privilege, prosecutors are going to be wary about searching their devices or their homes so as not to intrude on that privilege. Here, they must feel that he was engaged in some crime or fraud, in which case the privilege doesn't apply.
Is it clear to you whether Giuliani just flat out ignored the warnings from the FBI counterintelligence division that he was being manipulated by the Russian government, either because he didn't want to believe it or because he didn't care? As we mentioned, Giuliani denies the Washington Post report that the FBI warned him.
Well, that's not a surprise either that he would deny it if he was warned by the FBI. And I have to think that if the FBI was doing a thorough job, they would have warned him. Senator Ron Johnson acknowledges that he was given a warning by the FBI, and he was in contact with some of the same people that Giuliani was, and with the same purpose of trying to get dirt on Joe Biden. Now, Johnson claims that while he was briefed, he thought it was done for unscrupulous reasons, so it could be used against him, which I think, frankly, is nonsensical. But nonetheless, if Johnson was briefed, it stands to reason Giuliani would have been given that kind of defensive briefing also.
And you're saying it's basically entirely possible, that Giuliani could have been working both for the president, toward the goals of the president, and toward goals of Russian-linked Ukrainians, that they're not mutually exclusive.
No, in fact, they may be mutually reinforcing because, some of these people like Lutsenko, this former prosecutor, he wanted to maintain his position in Ukraine, thought that President Trump could help him do that. He also wanted to get rid of Yovanovitch, who was an anti-corruption crusader and was making his life difficult. And Giuliani had his own reasons for wanting to get rid of Yovanovitch, but also to get the help of these corrupt Ukrainians to get dirt on the Bidens. So they were mutually reinforcing corrupt interests operating on the part of Giuliani and these Ukrainians.
What do you make of the investigation into Matt Gaetz and this new reporting from the Daily Beast about a letter they obtained allegedly written by former Gaetz associate Joel Greenberg, who's under federal indictment, that purports to say that he and Gaetz paid for sex with multiple women, including a minor who was 17 at the time? We haven't independently verified the letter, but your Democratic colleague, Congressman Ted Lieu, tweeted today, "Dear GOP leader, please remove Representative Matt Gaetz from the House Judiciary Committee immediately. the committee's jurisdiction over the Department of Justice that's investigating Gaetz, including allegedly for sex crimes with a minor. This is an untenable conflict of interest. Is it?
Well, I think it probably is a conflict of interest, and I don't think he belongs on that committee. But do I have any optimism that Kevin McCarthy would consider what the right thing to do is? No, not any confidence at all. Kevin McCarthy has made his bed with Donald Trump and the Trump wing of the party, of which Matt Gaetz is very much in the mainstream. And even though these are really serious allegations against Gaetz, it's hard to see McCarthy taking action against him. It's hard to see the president, former president, criticizing someone who's been loyal to him. Tragically, the Republican conference in Congress is filled with these people. The Marjorie Taylor Greenes and the Matt Gaetz and others, they have become some of the dominant voices in Trump's GOP. And as Ana Navarro was pointing out, you couldn't be farther away from the Republican Party that at least used to say that it stood for family values.
Yeah. Congressman Adam Schiff, I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.